What's going on, the Whiskey Cove, and a warm welcome back to the channel. On today's episode, we get to review one of the staples of the whiskey budget world. That is Knob Creek 9. You know the drill. Run the video. Alrighty then, folks, let's get into today's video, shall we? And again, we are reviewing Knob Creek 9 year. So I know you're thinking this bottle is probably looks a little empty. I opened this up about 2 months ago. I did pour some in a decanter here in the last few days, but it hasn't been, like I said, it hasn't been opened up for too long, so we're still going to get any of those notes. It's not off, it's not aged for too long outside of the bottle. It hasn't opened up too much. If anything, it's opened up perfect amount. So let's get this whiskey in the bottle here. Every last drop going in. Okay, folks, let's learn a little bit about Knob Creek and let's learn a little bit about the distillery Jim Beam here, shall we? So Knob Creek Small Batch Bourbon is one of 4 bourbons that comprises Jim Beam's Small Batch Bourbon collection. The others are Basil Hayden's, Baker's Bourbon and Booker's Bourbon. Beam states that they age every batch in their maximum char barrels to pull every bit of natural sweetness from the oak. From its initial release in 1992 up into the late 2016, Knob Creek carried a 9-year age statement. In 2016, Beam removed the age statement, saying that they could not guarantee all barrels would be aged 9 years due to inventory issues. In 2020, the 9-year age statement once again returned to the small batch bourbon. When the very first bottle of Knob Creek was released, its mission was to restore whiskey to the way that it was meant to be, patiently aged and full flavored. This commitment not only helped Knob Creek overturn all the softer, milder whiskies on the market, it was also a major step towards making the small batch whiskey movement what it is today. We don't age our bourbon 9 years and longer because we're required to do so. We do it because the extra time and effort are well worth it. Under the care of the 7th generation distillers, minutes become the days become years, and the years become bourbon. Refined enough to sip yet strong enough to carry a cocktail, we call it Knob Creek. Some bold statements there, but of course this is a very bold bourbon and a bourbon that everybody knows. And as I mentioned before in the aforementioned intro, that Knob Creek is kind of a cornerstone or a pillar of the budget bourbon market. So I paid around $23 to $26 for this. So again, a 9-year bourbon from Kentucky, that's not much there at all. So the mash bill on this is going to be 75% corn, 13% rye and 12% malted barley. So then let's get into this whiskey, shall we? And then just kind of looking in the glass here, kind of looks kind of like a golden straw color, not too dark, not too light. Coming in a 50 proof in 9 years, you might expect it to be a little bit darker, but you know, Jim Beam products generally are, you know, a little bit looking on the lighter side for the most part. Let's go in for a nose here then. So straight away I get a really nice kind of cherry note there. Get like a candied cherry, like a red candied bacon cherry. And you get a beautiful vanilla note that comes and backs that up there as well. Like I would say like an ice cream vanilla. And then you get a beautiful, nice bit of spice there as well. That rice spice really comes through. You get it up your nose as well. You get a little bit of pepper and a touch of ethanol on the nose there as well. Kind of singes your hair. You get a little bit of a touch of marshmallow there as well, which is really pleasant. Or maybe a little bit of corn there. So what we'll do, let's go in for a little taste on this one. Cheers. So straight away, it is quite a spicy whiskey. I do get a lot of peppercorn. I get a lot of that rye spice that again comes through as well. Kind of like a dark cinnamon note is also there as well. And then also with the spice, I get a nice little bit of coffee, almost like I wouldn't quite say espresso bean, but maybe kind of like a ground espresso bean that's kind of like been left to aerate for a couple of days, and it doesn't quite have the same potency. But that's definitely there as well. Let's go in for another taste here, folks. So I'm also picking up a nice bit of citrus as well. I'm getting like a really nice like orange peel kind of vibe there as well. Kind of like when you're making an old fashioned and you peel a nice little bit of orange and then you kind of give it the old squirt. It's kind of like the orange oil, and that kind of adds to the bitterness, a little bit of bitterness that I'm getting here as well. Not a bit too bitter that's taken over the whole drink, but it kind of reminds me of like an orange zest bitterness there. Also getting some of those really nice sweet marshmallow char notes that are coming through. All in all, this whiskey is coming across really well balanced, which leads to why this is such a kind of cornerstone of bourbon. Let's go in for another taste and see if we can pick apart this finish here. I'm not getting any peanut on the finish. I'm getting more of kind of a leather note I was getting in the beginning, and the kind of spice has gone away towards the back end of the finish there. And this is kind of where you're getting more of the age statement here. Kind of rounds out really nicely. You get kind of like that really nice dry leather note and getting a nice touch of wood there as well. Tastes more of kind of like a pecan wood, not so much like oaky or bitter. It's more of like a sweeter pecan note that kind of really rounds out this whiskey really well. So my final thoughts here on Knob Creek 9 year. You get in a very easy to find whiskey. You get in a whiskey made by Jim Beam, who makes some fantastic products and some fantastic whiskeys. You're paying bottom dollar for that. It seems to be very well balanced between sweet, spicy, and woody oat notes. I'm not getting kind of any of that Jim Beam peanut note that some people do get on other Jim Beam products. So that comes down to kind of like my ratings. So I'm going to do value for money first. So value for money, A through F, A being the best, F being the worst. Obviously this is going to get an A, because off the top of my head, I don't think any bottle gets anywhere near this on value for money. If you're talking about age statement and you're talking about proof, I think the only other thing closer to this is maybe like a Russell's Reserve 10, but I still think that's more expensive than this bottle. So, and maybe Eagle Rare, arguably, and maybe Buffalo Trace is probably in that kind of bracket with it. So A, I'm giving it for value for money. So then rating out of 100, 0 being the worst, 100 being this most herald bottle of whiskey that you'll never try. I would give this a solid 81. I think it bats so much higher than kind of its own bracket. I believe that this is probably the best kind of whiskey in its bracket there, like I said, with Buffalo Trace and Russell's Reserve 10. If you haven't tried Knob Creek 9, guys, you have to pick up a bottle. It needs to be a staple of your bourbon collection. I cannot say enough good things about this whiskey, because you can just find it on any shelf. Take it home, enjoy it. 50% alcohol as well, so it will stand up to a little bit of water, maybe a little bit of ice as well if that's your thing. You can put it in a cocktail and it also will be fantastic there as well. So again, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to hit the like button. I hope you enjoyed the content, folks, and if there's anything that you would like to see on this channel, please let us know in the comments down below. And as we always say on this channel, as we drink through the world's whiskies, one glass at a time, cheers.